Hello everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery Part 2 of Rob's posts. So I did the video before this, kind of going through Rob's posts, because on this account there's a good amount already. I mean, there's 454 posts, and I think a lot of them sometimes, maybe if it's the first time you're seeing it, if you just found this page, it's good to have someone break them down if you're a little bit confused. So the one I ended on the last time was why we're so lucky to have OCD right now. And it is really important to apply that gratitude because, I mean, for the vast majority of human existence, people actually weren't recovering. And, you know, even in the last 20 years, what people consider was recovery, which is definitely making progress, so it was a lot better than before, was still just coasting in a lot of ways. So I want to start this video with the post that's directly underneath it that says, "The belief life must be happy all the time often brings more suffering than suffering itself." So I just got done reading the book Atomic Habits, and they made a really good analogy talking about, you know, happiness is when you're always craving something, right? Conditional self, life, other acceptance. So what makes happiness is very odd. So it's very easy to make a YouTube account, very easy to make an Instagram platform and say, you know, put some rainbows in the background and say the 3 most important things about how to be happy. Those simplicities are really bad for human psychology, especially when you're 16, 15, you don't really understand context of life yet. I mean, if you're 14 years old, you have no idea what's going on. You don't understand how the world operates. I didn't understand how the world operates. None of us do. People in their mid-20s that are living at home, nothing, just as an example, do not understand how the world operates. That when, like for me right now, if something went wrong in my business, I'd have to go out and get another job immediately to supplement that income, where a lot of people don't have to worry about that. So what's happening in life is we have a belief that things should always be easy all the time. This is the first time in history, 2000, probably 22 to maybe 1970, the last 50 years, where humans have it pretty easy in most areas of the world. So it's really good to break down the reality that life doesn't owe you anything and happiness doesn't owe you anything. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. OCD recovery is a journey of light bulb moments that pave the way to internal release from the clutches of OCD. You can't force a perspective moment. These will come along the journey as you learn practice and patience. One day at a time, persistence is the key for recovery. So one thing I've been saying a lot in the webinars, which is actually really unique, is I've yet to meet anyone who's been, they got their disputing homework out, right? Because we always talk about disputing. If you want to learn more about how to dispute, you can look at other videos on the acceptance playlist in the YouTube channel. So they'll be writing down, they'll doing your disputing homework. Maybe they are suffering with harm OCD, and their biggest fear is, what if I get rejected by society, lose control, and end up in jail? And they're disputing. Usually when we're disputing, it's like any habit, sacrifice. You're doing this now to potentially benefit yourself in the future. You're not doing this now to have an aha moment in the moment. I've never met anyone who's had a perspective shift whilst they were doing that. It sounds really great, and I fell into the trap many times. That's why we talk about balance, that you're going to be doing this and automatically have that perspective shift. But that's not what happens. It's when you're out. It's when you're doing behavior changes. It's when you're at the party and you meet someone who killed someone drinking and driving, and then they were in jail for 8 years, and they talked about how it was a great experience, and you're thinking, wow, holy shit, that's crazy, that perspective. Those are when those perspective shifts really happen. They happened to me a lot when I was hiking on the mountains. They happened to me a lot when I was at work, when I was driving, having a really bad day and would see something, or think about someone who didn't have health insurance in the country and something serious happened in the medical accident and all these other things like that. It's first thing in the morning, so, that's why I got my coffee with me. I love this picture of Rob. There's this picture of Rob where he's drinking a coffee at a cafe, and he looks like really elongated, and he has this really small head. You should go down and find it and send him a DM and make a meme out of it. OCD Buster, that's up to you. So anxiety myth. Caffeine makes OCD worse, raises alertness of physical anxiety. If anxious Possibly yes, but avoidance is really the answer. A balance. Avoidance usually leads to an avoiding life. Live your life how you want to live it. Don't let anxiety be a dictator. So I probably overconsume caffeine. Sometimes I have pre-workout and then 3-4 coffees in a day, which is definitely not good, I would say, in the grand scheme of life. But I really don't care because, I really like the way coffee tastes. I love black coffee. Kona coffee from Hawaii is the best coffee. I'm biased. There might be some really good coffee out in South America, but true Kona coffee, my wife went to Hawaii and brought me back 5 pounds because I'm a little princess, was really, really, really good coffee. But what happens is I've seen so many videos online of people saying, hey, look, you have to cut out coffee. You have to cut this out if you want to recover. You have to do all these things if you want to recover. And that's setting you up for fear. You don't actually need to do that. You can drink caffeine and you can drink coffee if you want to recover from OCD. Okay. This is a good one. Simple. You won't be able to prove to yourself it's 100% real. So what's a good one? Oh, let's use ROCD, right? You developed ROCD. It's the first time you're watching this video. You don't really know what's going on yet. And you're doing everything you can to prove your attraction to your partner. So what ROCD does, just like trans and HOCD will do, is they'll make you convinced, absolutely convinced, that the person that you are looking at is no longer attractive. So you'll notice things such as their hairline, maybe the shape of their nose, certain bag lines under their eyes, the size of their ears, their teeth look weird. They might smell a little bit odd. Remember, OCD is so good at making you feel as real as it can get. It will make you feel absolutely attracted to other people. So understand that if you're trying to look at old pictures, trying to prove to yourself why you're that person. This is why, unfortunately, the biggest reassurance statements in the OCD community, which are still widely used and practiced, is you're not your thoughts. You're a good person when it has harm and POCD. You would never do that. Only crazy people do that. If you're being told that right now, it's time to rethink the person that you're seeing, whether it's a friend, family member, coach, therapist. It doesn't matter. They're not helping you. It's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous and they just give you 20 beers right when you walk in the door. It's our drug of choice, reassurance. It's really important to highlight that. I know that's not easy to hear. That's a good one. Okay. Let's go over that one. You won't recover by just becoming more spiritual. Now, we know many people who like to meditate. We know many people who go on meditation journeys. I meditated for a while and that did become compulsive for me. I don't really meditate anymore, maybe like once or twice a month, but I don't get into the meditative flow state like I used to because I don't make it a habit like I used to. 3 years ago, I meditated 15 minutes twice a day. Again, probably compulsive. But I will say this, I definitely got into that flow meditative state. But then I started to crave that state all the time. And I thought that state was basically I put conditions on my life thinking this is the state I want to be in all the time. AKA I need to be in this state all the time. And that really held me back. And it wasn't good. So it is important to highlight that, you're not going to recover by being more spiritual. You can become more spiritual, but usually spirituality in itself is not going to bring you to recovery. It's like going to church and praying all the time. This is not pro or anti-religion. It's saying that if you're doing that compulsively, you'll more than likely need to bring that down. And that's really important to highlight. Let's see this one. Oh, that's a good one. Things that keep people stuck. Blaming your genetics for your OCD and constantly wishing you had a different brain. Blaming your family and how they raised you. Blaming the doctor who put you on meds. Blaming society for not understanding your OCD. The last one's the most important here. Blaming society for not understanding OCD. There's a lot of people that use sentences like OCD is not an adjective. And I understand how that can be frustrating, but you're going out and battling something you have no control over. The basis of Stoicism is simple. Simple in theory, hard to apply over years, is that you have no control over what other people do in life. You have control over what you do, but you have no control if that works out good, well, bad. There's so many people that say stuff like, do these 10 things and you'll be successful in business. That's not true. One of my favorite quotes by Gary Vaynerchuk is, for every one Facebook, there's 1 million fails. 5 million fails. A lot of those people probably did everything they were supposed to do, proper documentation, proper work ethic, lawyer, structure, everything, and they still failed and fell on their ass and lost millions of dollars in startup money. So life just doesn't work that way. It's really important to realize that we don't need anyone else to understand us because we know what works, and that is so critical to understand. Let's see. This is another really good one. We kind of talked about this with the reassurance statements from before. Usually won't be able to recover from chronic severe OCD by just telling yourself it's a false alarm and moving on. This is an outdated concept from anxiety books of the past. So many people, okay, so when you're dealing with GAD or panic disorder, what tends to happen is a lot of people tell themselves it's just a false alarm. It's not real. And then what tends to happen is over time, over and over and over again, you say that, you kind of get a hit of relief. And when you get that hit of relief, it actually gives you that feeling of freedom, but it never lasts because it's the compulsion, right? And it comes back. I was talking to someone in real life the other day, yesterday, who we were talking about, they have OCD, and it developed for them 12 years ago, I remember, when a family member passed away. And they were saying, and I said to them, because they really had never seen anyone, I said, when you do these compulsions, these ritualistic compulsions, do you actually feel better when you do it? And she goes, yes. And I say that never lasts, we have to go again. So this is why understanding the practicality. But, it feels as real as it can get, so it will never feel like a false alarm. It will feel as real as it can get, and that is so key. So key. I'll do one more. This is a great one that ended on. Okay. Ingredients for recovery. Persistence. Long-term persistence wins. No matter how you feel today, keep going one day at a time. Reading the books, exposures, giving up compulsions, and being aware of OCD's tricks, connecting with life, riding the emotions of life, and persistence. So what's so unique about the OCD recovery, about OCD in general, is that we can get better. As I was talking about in part one of this video, there's a lot of things that people can't get better from. Or they're really, really, really hard to get better from. It doesn't mean they can't take perspectives from that journey before they say pass away from stage 4 cancer, or if they have a neurodegenerative disorder. They can, obviously. I met this kid in Expo on Saturday, which I said in the first video. He has a neuro condition called Charcot-Marie tooth, where it basically degenerates your nerves. And I'm pretty sure his cognitive function was pretty good because he told me he was driving. He was a really cool kid. And just overall, just goes to show you how lucky we are to be able to have OCD. Even like right now, I'm tired right now because it's first thing in the morning. But I really wanted to make this video, and I said to myself, let me grab a coffee and jump on the video. Many times in my life, I wouldn't have done stuff like this, and I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. So it's important to realize that you can do things even when you're suffering really difficult. Now, there's a lot of people that, like the stuffs, we always talk about, you can do hard things, and why we don't really use that concept. It's true, but it also kind of treats the sufferer like a baby, like they can't do hard things. I like the principles of it, but I use it my own way, and I think that, you'll more than likely want to do things when you're feeling like shit. And I mean, there's no right time, there's no perfect time to do something. The best time to do something is right now. That is the best time for you to get up off your ass and go out there and start bringing those compulsions down, doing the reading list and stuff like that. So remember, I'm going to read this again so you could hear it one more time. Let it resonate. Ingredients to recovery are persistence and long-term persistence. No matter how you feel today, keep going one day at a time. Reading the books, exposures, giving up compulsions and becoming aware of OCD's tricks, connecting with the roller coasters of life, and persistence. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below. We'll have a great conversation. Definitely, I'll be doing a lot of POCD videos soon. I know a lot of people want to hear POCD, and that's something that we'll talk about. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.